God doesn't want you to wait. There's this notion that you need to be perfect in some kind of way, that you need to really polish yourself before you could turn to God. But that's further from the truth than it could ever be. I myself found the grace of God because of my lowest points and my most, you could argue, sinful behaviors in my life so far. And I think that's the best time and the best state to be in order to turn to God. Now, why is it that way? I believe that's because every single human is a sinner. It doesn't matter if you told one lie, or maybe you did something which you later realized was a mistake. It's something that is spoken about in the Bible a lot, even in the Old Testament. And the point is that because we are not perfect, because we're not God Himself, because Adam and Eve were closer to God than we were, and they made a sin, they made a mistake. Every single human that came after them, whether the story is literally true or it's just a figurative way to explain this way that we are, I believe it's the truth, because there's no perfect humans. If there was a perfect human, I personally wouldn't consider them human even. They're either some kind of machine or God Himself. And I used to think the same way. I used to think that, yeah, I could try to turn to religion and try to do the prayers and look into it further, but at the end of the day, I was aware that the life that I was living was way too out of sync with religion. I thought that if you wanted to really be religious and spiritual, you had to give those things up and really change your life in a matter of days in order to actually be what spirituality and religion is supposed to be. But as anything with life goes, it's a work in progress. And because we can turn to God, it means that He can help us to actually exceed our expectations slowly but surely. Sometimes you don't even realize the progress that you're making because He makes it seem so light. And I think if you see this video, it's basically your sign to stop expecting perfection from yourself, because that's not something that you can achieve, especially on your own. And don't wait to be closer to perfection to turn to God and really get to know Him and find God. This is the main point of this video. I usually don't like to have a script or a specific point I want to talk about, but I felt like this was something that I wanted to talk about and really put out there for the people that might need it, because I myself also needed this information when I was just kind of floating around in the spiritual space and doing things that I thought were going to benefit me in one way or another, and trying to get into manifesting or the esoteric stuff, like whatever it may be. I was basically looking for answers in all the wrong places, while there's actually a Bulgarian rapper that says this in one of his songs. He says, "I turned my back to God but God was always behind my back, and that's a lesson to learn. So every time you think you're not worthy of God, every time you think you're better than people who are religious and they devote their life to strive to be better, even then God still has a space and a spot and care for you. You just need to turn around and acknowledge it, and that's when things will actually start unfolding. But how do we go on after that? How do we make the best of having a relationship with God? And I've been thinking about this for some time, and also my mentor, who is spiritually gifted, you could say, and very Christian. She recently posted something which is something that I've always thought, but I never knew how to put into words. And that's that feeling you get when you do something kind for another human being without expecting anything back, to the point where I'll give an example of myself because that's the thing that pops up in my head. I'm not trying to be some kind of perfect example or anything like that. It's just something that fits the description of what I'm saying. It's I was going to work, and I was going down the stairs of a metro station, and I noticed a mother with a baby in the cart. And I don't remember if she was going up or down, but I remember because I love to listen to music anytime I get the chance to, I had my headphones on, and I didn't want to make it seem like I'm helping her just so she could say thank you. And I didn't even want to waste time either because I was going to work. I'm usually late to work when it comes to traveling with the public transport and all of that, so I basically just helped her push the cart and just went about my day. And I didn't expect anything in return. And that felt amazing, because it's very fulfilling to be able to do that for people, and to have the capacity to do that, and to think that the more you do something like that, the more likely it is people will pick up on that example and do things for people just for the good of it. And that's exactly what she posted as well, which was related to doing good for people that are either rejected by society in some kind of way and not doing it for some kind of benefit for yourself. So she gave an example of, just buying a sandwich for a homeless person on the street and sitting down to talk with him. And you could also go to a hospital and ask to see a patient that never gets any visits, just to brighten their day. Ask in a retirement home the person that has never had any visitors either, or nobody to help them, and help them eat their food without letting their hands shake. So basically hold their spoon along with their hand for them. Just things like that are not expected of anyone to do for anyone, but doing them just for the good of it. And I think that's baby steps to a better world. And You don't need to be there to turn to God and say, hey, now I can be religious, now I can dive into this and see what it is and experience it for myself. It's quite the opposite. You start somewhere. You start with prayer. You start with reading the Bible if you wish. You start with videos on YouTube. You start talking to people that are Christian. And it applies to everything, but I think this is the audience that needs to hear this, and I am a Christian myself, so this is what I can speak on. So the core message is, do good. Don't strive to be perfect. Do good things for the good of it, not for yourself or for praise or for monetary value or anything like that. And don't wait for the perfect opportunity to reach out to God and realize what He is and what He can do for you. Don't limit yourself. Thank you for watching. You can watch a couple of my other videos. They have similar vibes, even though I usually just use this as a sort of a vlog to talk about my life and my experiences. But yeah, feel free to add a comment. Have you turned to God, and how did that happen? Have you ever experienced something like this where you thought you were not worthy of doing anything godly? And also do tell stories similar to this one that I told, where you did something nice for someone without expecting anything. Maybe we can start something good in this community. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.